Dublin have got to win those physical battles against Kerry if they're to prevail here. Brian Cullen switching the direction. Neatly forward here, taken in once again by Paul Flynn. Back as far as Bastick. Scored against Tyrone. Bit of a rarity, that one. Left well short. Tomas O'Shea. Here's Mark O'Shea. Fisted across here this time as far as Aidan O'Mahony. Loads of experience there. Kerry will keep it nice and calm. Won't get too excited about anything. Darren O'Sullivan goes down, that time under Michael Dara McCauley's challenge. A foul challenge, free kick.
Yeah, that's a straightforward foul, up around the neck. Joe McQuillan has no option but to award a free to Kerry.
Jack O'Connor getting very animated. His player down injured. Earlier on it was Kevin Nolan who was down injured. And there is going to be a change for Kerry, and the man who's going to come on, and probably the rafters will be raised, will be Paul Galvin, ready to be introduced. Ger O'Keefe there, one of the selectors, alongside him. Meanwhile, Kerry go back into the attack again. Kieran O'Leary going low, trying to play it back out. Donaghy held on here by O'Sullivan. That's Darren O'Sullivan. Down towards Kieran O'Leary as well, playing in his first All-Ireland final. And the 24-year-old gets it across beyond Cooper. Falls for Michael Dara McCauley instead. Tracked back well. The final pass out, though, just about kept in there by Paul Flynn. This is Ger Brennan stepping away from trouble. Sheehan's after him. Still Brennan. Michael Dara McCauley once again. Head up, looking for a colleague. Finding Cowell with a precise pass. This is much better from Dublin. Cowell going through, being urged forward, taken down just outside the large rectangle. Free in.
Yeah, I think that's the secret for Dublin. If they can get forwards in a situation where they can take on the Kerry backs one-on-one, that time Cahill went straight line, got past Aidan O'Mahony, who conceded the free just outside the large parallelogram.
That time frailties shown among the Kerry defenders. 5 of the 6 over 31 years of age, remember. This free kick to be taken by Bernard Brogan, looking for his first point of the match. And there was a yellow card there, which is to Aidan O'Mahony. So a yellow card per team. Bernard Brogan kicking this, routine one for him, puts it over the bar. Bernard Brogan puts it over, and it's 1-1 to 3 points. Off the ball. While we were watching that, this is what was happening down at the other end of the field.
Well, I saw what was happening there. Now, I didn't see ultimately what happened, but what happened there, I think Declan O'Sullivan and Rory O'Carroll came over. Declan O'Sullivan came over to have a word with Jack O'Connor. Rory O'Carroll came with him. Now, I don't know what happened after that, but certainly Declan O'Sullivan went down the heap. So, you can only speculate that maybe Rory O'Carroll made contact with him, but I didn't see it actually happening, but I saw the prelude to it.
Well, it's resulted in Joe McQuillan going down to have a word with his umpires now. And down there at the Hill 16 end, Jimmy Galligan and T.P. Gray are the 2 umpires. So what did the men in white see? No need for Judge Judy. We've got the 2 men here who probably will have had a very good view. Declan O'Sullivan and Rory O'Carroll. Martin, you were saying the 2 involved?
Yep. I think Declan O'Sullivan came over to the sideline to get instructions from Jack O'Connor. Rory O'Carroll came with him. Now, whatever happened after that, I'm not so sure, but they were certainly having words with one another. So
it's going to result in a card here. And a quick flash of yellow shown to Rory O'Carroll. Dublin 2 yellow cards, Kerry 1. And Kerry are making a change. This is what happened. Have a look at this again.
Yeah. One rushing off the other. Just watch it here. Don't see anything much in that so far.
Well, that was the completion of that particular episode. Now, Kieran O'Leary, I saw coming off the field there, and I think Paul Galvin has gone in. And that's a very early time to be making that change. Only 24 minutes of the match gone. Kieran O'Leary had hardly enough time to get into his stride before Kerry decides to bring on Galvin, who was trying to get the ball there from Barry Cahill. Now it's Brian Cullen. lobbed in there, touchdown brilliantly, and finish. Oh, should have been by Alan Brogan until Brendan Keeley got in the way. They say he's a great shot stopper. That was a fabulous piece of goalkeeping. As the two Brogans were involved, that'll be worth looking at again in a moment. But Brendan Keeley has stopped a certain Dublin goal.
This is superb bit of goalkeeping by Keeley once again. Against Cork he did it with, I think it was Paul Kerrigan. He did it on a couple of occasions against me, but that there was the best of the lot of them.
Great pace in the match. Down as far as Declan O'Sullivan here. Three blue shirts alongside him. Cuts it back to Donncha Walsh. Taking off, trying to get past Nolan. And eventually it's Mick Fitzsimons who comes out. The cool youngster. Fouled, free out. Point between them. Kerry still in front. Low scoring All-Ireland final. Up as far as Alan Brogan, taken away here by James McCarthy. Kicked in diagonally towards Connolly, takes it down. Quick look at the post. Three men after him, make it two now at this stage. It's still Diarmuid Connolly. Oh, very tamely hit. Easy one for Keeley. Out as far as Mark O'Shea. And it's Kerry's turn to breathe a sigh of relief that time. Dublin should have had a couple of scores in the last two attacks. Ended up getting absolutely nothing. Still Tomas O'Shea, now 33 years of age. Down as far as Cooper, the goal scorer. Foul there by Fitzsimons, his marker.
Well, just going back to that save again, it must be said that Alan Brogan had time to compose himself and pick a spot, and that's what made the save all the more meritorious.
That time, Donncha Walsh had time to pick a spot. Into Donaghy! Oh, wonderful stop! Cian O'Sullivan this time. Brilliant work by Cian O'Sullivan, the UCD student and the Kilmacud Crokes player. Match really hotting up. Michael Darragh Macaulay, 65 metres from his own goal. Way back there is Alan Brogan. Neat pass in, fumbled there by Flynn. In came Galvin. Referee said, leading him with the boot. Free kick to Dublin. Dublin took it too quickly, and they'll have to take it again. Paul Flynn's down injured.
No, I thought Galvin attacked that ball fair and square along with Paul Flynn. Maybe the boot made contact all right, but certainly went hard for it. He was perfectly entitled to go in for that. Watch that save in that case. I see what Kieran Donaghy was complaining about. He probably felt that the ball was touching the ground, but just watch it. Alan Brogan has time here, but Keeley with his right hand gets a strong hand to it and deflects the ball away to safety. Great save.
Oh, he's done really well this year, Brendan Keeley, producing several of those important saves. Back in the middle of the park, the referee is going to award a free kick, and up comes Stephen Cluxton to try and kick a point, his second time to hit a long-range free for Dublin. Last one was a little bit nearer. This is central, as you can see. That's the distance out. What, about 50 metres?
It hasn't been a most enjoyable game up to now. I know there have only been, whatever it is, 5 scores in the game, but it's been some exceptional football from both sides, and both defences doing very, very well.
Sheer intensity so far. Cluxton kicking up into the air. It's got accuracy, it's got everything. It's over the bar. And the teams are level. It's Kerry 1-1, Dublin 4 points. Teams level for the second time. What a reliable kicker from frees like that Stephen Cluxton has become.
I think this is 11th point of the championship, which is an amazing statistic for a goalkeeper.
Into the middle of the park again it comes. Broken down that time by Michael Darragh Macaulay. Picked up by Kerry, by Donncha Walsh. Across there by Galvin. Gives it away. Onto it quickly came Brian Cullen. Now Macaulay. Into space it comes. Running across for Bernard Brogan. Fair old distance from the goal. Mark O'Shea out there. What a kick. What a point. That's superb by Bernard Brogan. Top footballer last year. Doing well in this final. And Dublin lead by 5 points to 1-1. Kerry with only 2 scores in the match so far.
Yeah, that came as a badly directed pass from Paul Galvin. Well picked up, but notice the ball by Macaulay out into the corner. It isolated Brogan with Mark O'Shea in a 1-to-1, and Brogan's kick had all the accuracy in a fine score.
The kick out for Kerry has all the accuracy as well. Brian Sheehan initially, Tomas O'Shea, and then finally from Galvin back to Mark O'Shea. 11 minutes since Kerry scored. Dublin now winning the major battles. Bastick in, and it runs away unkindly from Bernard Brogan. The ball just wouldn't oblige. But
The ball
Pat Gilroy must be pleased.
He must be pleased. The ball wouldn't oblige, and I think a lot of the Kerry passing isn't obliging themselves at the moment. There's so many missed passes. They're being put under huge pressure by the Dublin middle third players. It's a fascinating contest out around the middle at the moment.
David Hickey there in the background as well, one of the stars of the past in the 70s. In the 2011 final, going up for that one was Dennis Bastick. And acrobatically getting himself back on his feet again. Free taken by Barry Cahill for that foul on Bastick. Taken in here by Alan Brogan. Brogan doing well against Killian Young. The target in there was Bernard Brogan. Instead, it's Mark O'Shea winning this one. Covering well. Out as far as Brosnan. All the way down, intended for Darren O'Sullivan. Comes bouncing back into the middle of the park once again. Dublin with a high energy level. They've got youth and fitness. They've got David Connolly. Galvin was after him, tripped him, free in. And another chance of a point here.
That was a clumsy concession of a free that time by Galvin. Didn't get around the defending side as he should have done. And that's a silly free to concede in a very threatening area.
Well, now Bernard Brogan is 25 metres from the target. Should suit him. His team a point ahead already. 3 minutes to go to half-time. He's got it. Third point for the 27-year-old. Two of them coming from frees, and Dublin stretch out to a 2-point lead. It's been a fair old while since Kerry scored.
It hasn't. You'd be very concerned about the middle of the park. Neither Maher or Sheehan are getting on much ball at the moment. That has to be a cause of great concern.
Dublin are grouping well, winning the breaks. Paul Flynn, probably still a little bit worried by that hamstring that has been troubling him in the last few weeks. Out it comes to Brian Sheehan. Kerry now need to steady things, stabilise their efforts. Sheehan to Mulse O'Shea. Now Mark O'Shea going out wide, out as far as Killian Young. Fed inside once again, Tom O'Sullivan. Declan O'Sullivan now has come back to a much deeper role. Darren O'Sullivan lets it run away from two Kerry players collide. The other one is Donegal Walsh, and the referee saw it as a foul and a free kick.
I think it was Keane O'Sullivan, was it, that conceded that free. He's at the moment, by the way, marking Darren O'Sullivan. That switch has been made by Pat Kilroy a couple of moments ago. And Cooper is still being marked by Michael Fitzsimons. And what it must be said, he's not getting much supply of the ball at the moment.
Kerry haven't scored now since the 19th minute of this final. So here we are, 2 minutes to go to the break. And it's Brian Sheehan who will hit this free kick from just outside the 45-metre line. The mist has eased. It's become a very pleasant day. Whatever breeze there is blowing across from left to right as he faces this one. It's across the field, the wind today. Sheehan with a lovely languid style of free kicking normally. Let's see how he does here. Connects well, but it's got to drop short. And it bounces back out again to Darren O'Sullivan, back out to the Gooch, back out to Galvin. And the enfant terrible puts it over. Narrows the gap, one between them. Paul Galvin's first point since coming on. Well, that free kick didn't quite have the distance that time, but it was Kerry who were sharp and alert to the possibilities, and Galvin direct and true with his kicking.
A lovely example that time of unselfish play. First of all by Darren O'Sullivan, passing it out to Cooper, who in turn transferred it to Galvin, and that'll do Galvin the world of good to put that one over the bar.
Dublin goes short with their kick out to Fitzsimons. There'll be 2 additional minutes played at the end of the opening 35. Oh, that was left by Aidan O'Mahony and gleefully taken by Barry Cahill, which was a mistake because Ger Brennan's now up with the attack and they've got a free kick. Well, there was a situation where Aidan O'Mahony was leaving the ball out. Galvin's back protesting. Dublin got on about their business. And it ends up with a free kick here. Galvin after Ger Brennan. And was there much in that?
Oh, I thought that was a very, very soft free. Galvin, I thought, did the right thing that time. He got on the goal side of his attacker. I thought he got into the correct situation to actually defend it. I thought that was a very harsh call against him.
So for harsh, for soft, do we say wrong call, referee? Bernard Brogan taking it, and he's put it wide. 6-5 still in points. Dublin still leading. We're into time added on. I'm sure he'll have plenty to say to his charges. So the wide 6-4, Dublin leading for the all-important score, the one on the bottom, or the top left-hand corner. Here's Brosnan. Kerry behind by a point, heading towards half-time. Declan O'Sullivan on towards Darren O'Sullivan. You still feel there's an awful lot of football left in the forwards if they get possession. Need to win midfield, however. Back towards Donegal Walsh. Well, they're going across the field. They've gone to Jamal Sochet, who's got 1-4 in finals in the past. Here's Anthony Marr getting away from Ger Brennan. Is there an end product? There's a free in. It's a fair distance out. It's an opportunity for Kerry to draw level just before the half-time break as James McCarthy came up and over Anthony Marr.
Came up and over, and I thought, to be honest with you, Anthony Marr had run out of options that time. I thought he'd lost his way. The attack seemed to have died with him. And James McCarthy, I thought maybe a little bit unlucky once more to have actually conceded a free in.
So it's going to be Colm Cooper who will take this, looking for a point to go with the goal he scored after 19 minutes. Kerry behind by a point. He's hit it truly, and he's put it wide, unfortunately, from a Kerry point of view. Didn't quite have the line.
Yeah, I just wonder about the wind down there. Was he kicking that ball into a difficult enough wind? The wind, as we can see it from the flags, was blowing directly into him that time, but he seemed to force that kick and just drifted wide.
So the 2 minutes of stoppage time has now been played, and the referee having a look at his watch, I can tell you, as Stephen Cluxton sums up his options. It's half-time at the All-Ireland Football Final 2011. A game lit up by Colm Cooper's goal after 19 minutes. It's a first half which saw a wonderful save by Kerry goalkeeper Brendan Keeley after 25 from Alan Brogan, and Cian O'Sullivan getting in the way of a Kieran Donaghy would-be goal for Kerry in the 27th minute. So just a point separating these teams at the break. Dublin will be pleased enough. It's Dublin 6 points, it's Kerry 1-2. We've got an analysis, lots to talk about at Croke Park.
To have high scores in the game and to be having a really, really good game of football.
Yeah, I just thought it was a brilliant first 20 minutes, and there was nearly no scores in it. And, you know, sometimes people say, you know, if it's a defensive style of game, it tends to be a dour sort of game. But we had everything in that first half. We had brilliant play from both sides, a lot of goal mount incidents, great individual performances, and Dublin have set out their stall, and the game is going very much in their favour with the defensive strategy they're employing. Also, Alan Brogan and Bernard Brogan are doing quite well, even though the supply of ball is a bit erratic and they're kicking it in the wrong angles. But Dublin have set out a defensive strategy. They're defending en masse, and their half forwards are doing phenomenal work. Whether they're able to keep it up is another thing. And Kerry have now played their trump card as a sub by bringing on Paul Galvin. So Pat Kilroy will be very happy in the Dublin dressing room.
Pat, what do you think of it?
I wouldn't go so far as to say it was a brilliant game, but it was very interesting, very enjoyable, and an enthralling game. And yes, a low-scoring game can be a very enjoyable game of football, because there was plenty scoring chances by both teams, you know. I mean, Dublin have brought an intensity to the table, which I knew they'd bring. Their tackling is ferocious and brilliant, and Kerry don't seem to be prepared for it. Now, they've decided to say, right, we're giving you the possession, Kerry, you have the extra man coming up, and Kerry are sort of most of the time playing into their hand, because they're carrying the ball into the tackle, they're short passing the ball, they're easy targets for the Dublin defence. They started with Kieran Donaghy as a wing forward. I don't know what the play was there, because it seemed baffling. They gave one high ball, they moved him in near the end and gave him a high ball, and it looked threatening. They haven't got Gooch into the game. Look, 3 scores in 37 minutes of football is a poor return. They're playing second fiddle to this Dublin team, and Jack O'Connor has a lot of worrying to do at half-time, a lot of sorting out to do.
He has, and Joe, one of the things he's got to sort out is the way Dublin are defending this game, as the two lads have been talking about.
Well, you know, that's really what's controlling the game now, Dublin's defensive work, and I mean their defensive work from their half-forward line back, including the fact that Kerry's forwards are being swarmed in possession 2 and 3, and what happens eventually is that forwards become wearied with that. It becomes more and more difficult. They start to become disenchanted, even great forwards like some of the forwards that Kerry have. The other side of that, of course, is that unlike, say, Donegal, Dublin are breaking at immense pace when they do win possession, and they're then firing the ball in. Now, Kerry are in the middle of a real high wire act, as we thought beforehand. They've gone man to man, On 2 occasions, Bernard Brogan was free inside, and poor passes were given towards it. One was kicked over the end line, and one was kicked out away at the sideline. One of those passes going to the right place, and the ball's in the net. And as the game advances, you can see that Dublin's defensive strategy, even though Kerry have better players, is allowing Dublin to stay in the driving seat.
And yet you can't deny the little bit of genius when it gets a chance, because despite Dublin's good defending, Gooch still managed to get in for the goal.
Yeah, and it was the one thing you'd say would never happen. Like Darren O'Sullivan picks the ball right up in the middle of the field, and everybody sort of backs off, and it was the one thing you wouldn't think would happen. And then, of course, everybody in Dublin said, oh no, look who has it now, and bang, it's in the back of the net. You know, Mick Fitzsimons would nearly have been better off to stay with Gooch.
That's
and
exactly
let Darren
right,
O'Sullivan shoot himself coming in, because he was caught. He was going on to his right foot, and he needed to be on his left. So
It wasn't even bang into the back of the net, it was just a lovely little chip.
Look at the way he stroked it with the inside of his left foot. I mean, it wasn't, there was no power. This was just with accuracy. This is a thing of beauty. And like I said, they haven't, I mean, for Kerry to win the All-Ireland, they will have to get Gooch on the ball far more often, and they're not doing it at the moment because they can't get past that intensity. They're losing the ball.
Even if they do, they're consistently outnumbered. There are 2-3 defenders, and Dublin are committing themselves. They're saying if a man gets turned, we'll all hit him, 2-3 at a time. It's impossible to get around that. And the number of times that a Kerry player's been on the ground, slithering a ball out to someone, they're cutting down the room. They're doing exactly what I hoped they would do before the game.
Looking at
they're playing with a clear vision here, you know.
I was saying it to you, Michael, there. It was very interesting in the middle of the field. Kerry get the ball in the middle of the field. Kevin Nolan wouldn't bother marking his man. He'd just run back towards the goal because he'd know that Brian Cullen or Barry Cahill or Paul Flynn or some of these other fellas were going to get back to take his man. It's taken incredible stamina for those men to keep up this job.
And yet, despite the goal that Colin Cooper got, Kerry could have got another one as well.
They certainly could have. It was the one time Pat was saying why they didn't bring Donaghy or put him in earlier, even though he got a lot of ball around the middle of the field.
It going nowhere and in no threat.
Yeah, but this was the one time Dublin got a bit exposed. Donaghy with the ball, and I think as Keane O'Sullivan gets down, and it looked as if the ball was picked on the head.
The difference between his kick and Gooch's kick, basically it was a case there of Donaghy turning around, putting the head down and swinging the leg. With Gooch, what you got with Gooch is the head up, and he's looking for position, he's looking to place the ball, and that's what went wrong there.
We're headed for a break here on the Sunday game. When we come back, we'll be giving you another chance to enter our special football competition.
They did on a far better goal chance than maybe, say, Kieran Donaghy had for Kerry. I think this is one when Alan Brogan looked back on it in the DVD in a few days' time, he'll see this one as one he should have put away. First of all, you must compliment Brendan Keeling goals. He got the angles right. He's probably the best shot stopper in the modern game. But I just think what happened there is that Alan Brogan dwelt too long on the ball, gave a chance for Keely to position himself, and then instead of playing it low under the goalie, he shot at a height which was easy for the goalie to block. So great save, but
he made himself very big. There's no doubt about that. It's time to head down pitch side to join Marty Morrissey. Let's hear what they all think of it down there.
Well, at the moment, Michael, I have a slightly worried Kerry man and a little bit happier Dublin man, Declan O'Keefe. What can Jack O'Connor do for the second half? Because Kerry do have their problems, don't they?
Yeah, Marty, we're in a real battle now, and Dublin are dictating this game to Kerry at the moment, so he'll have to sit them down inside. We'll probably have to put more emphasis on our defence. I think we're leaving ourselves very exposed at the back end. We'll have to spread the play out a bit. We're coming up through the middle there, we're a bit too narrow, I think, playing into Dublin's hands, and we'll have to get the Gooch more into the game as well. He's not in the game really, and at the moment Dublin are dictating the terms of this All-Ireland final.
Jason, a pretty good performance after kind of an unsettling 15 minutes. Dublin seem to find their rhythm, and the game plan, the defensive plan is working, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a very cagey first half. Obviously there was a lot of worry in the Dublin team how they were going to mark up and match up against the Kerry forwards, and Kerry showed with their goal that they are capable of opening up any team. But in fairness, what I was so impressed of from Dublin was the reaction after the goal. They coped with it and they got themselves back in the game. Now they're right in with a great chance. The more Kerry press on, it's going to leave gaps in the back, but I'm afraid for Dublin supporters it's going to be edge of the seat stuff for the second half.
In a word, you can still do it?
Oh, heart in the sleeve, the Dubs all the way.
Jason Sherlock, Declan O'Keefe, thank you very much indeed for joining us. It's back up to Michael.
Dublin are back out onto the field. We're waiting for Kerry. Colin Moroku tipped Dublin before the match. They're edging it.
Well, the game is going in Dublin's favour, and Dublin always had to win a low-scoring game, I felt, and it's very much like that at the moment. I didn't think I'd ever sit in Croke Park and see over a half an hour go from Kerry's first point to their second point, like from the first minute, I think, to the 33rd minute. So it's an incredible performance by Dublin in defending, but they also have to ensure that they come out and score another 7 or 8 or 10 points in total, because that danger always lurks there. Like Cooper gets his hand on the ball, he slide another one in. So it's an intriguing contest. It's very finely balanced, but I wouldn't desert Dublin.
No, it's going to open up, Pat, in the second half. It's going to become a little bit more helter-skelter, you suspect.
I don't think so. I think Dublin
will
stick.
So?
No, I don't think so. No,
right,
I'd like to think it will open up, but no, it won't. Dublin will stick to that successful defensive plan for the first half. For Kerry in the second half, they will up the intensity. They will have to move the ball quicker, faster, more direct. But the key element, if Kerry are going to win this All Ireland, is to get Donaghy and Gooch on the ball with quick, good quality supply. That's the key. And maybe cut out the fouling. They gave away 3 frees there, and they were soft frees.
2 of those frees that weren't
A massive factor in this is that they survived the early Kerry blitzkrieg. They came out of it with a point on the board, Kerry. I mean, they've now sowed doubts in Kerry's mind. They're exactly where they want to be. You know, this is their time to push on.
There is an attendance of 82,300 here at Croke Park enjoying this